Hello everybody, I'm back in Fallout 4. This time I'm at Abernathy Farm and I will be building a defense tower of some kind. I had a couple requests for like defenses, so I figured since the Minutemen were here now, they'll man this tower. It's quite a bit different from many of the other towers I've built, but I still think that this turned out real well. Um, you'll notice that it's like tiered, so there's like the lower part of the building, and I also build up on the roof of the tower. So as you can see, I kind of filled in that bottom half, uh, put walls up on the sides so that it wasn't quite so uh, just boxy. Like I mean, it's not like it doesn't have the same supports as all the other structures. And I also tried to make it a little less boxy. I tried to make an interesting type of staircase up the tower, and my idea for it was to just have a staircase that kind of wraps around the tower rather than actually just going up on one side and whatever. I wanted it to kind of be its own thing, so like things had to kind of blend together, and then this tower kind of just was built around it, or not built around it, but the staircase was kind of built around it, around the tower, and I thought it actually turned out real well, and you guys will see what I mean here in a little bit. The staircase is the first thing I worked on. Um, I added another staircase on this side to get up, just because I figured that it would be easier to get up, and I do move that. I don't like how wide that staircase is, and then the other staircase was just too short to actually like make it up to the top. So I wish that I had moved that already, but I move it later. But right here, what I do is I go ahead and I wanted this kind of railed like a staircase up to the roof, but the taller version of this staircase is actually way too tall. And so here I go, like I said, I ended up moving that staircase because I didn't like where it was, and I was actually worried it wouldn't fit there, but it actually let me build pretty far out of the build area. And so right here, it's me just figuring out how if I could get up there or not, or if I needed to build a way up there. But using the staircase right there and then jumping up on the side, I was able to get on it. And right here, I'm just trying to line up the top of that post, or top of that staircase, with the floor, or well, the roof of that prefab. And then I just pillar glitched it into the other staircase, so it looks like one long staircase. And then I use the catwalk walkway in the scaffolding tab from USO to actually make the walkway from the staircase to the top of the tower. And I've used that kind of technique before at Taffington Boathouse I did. And to kind of throw that quarry catwalk up there, I thought it needed to be a little bit more blocked off because I kept falling off. I figured that it would probably be safer if I added railings. So I added railings, and to kind of break the texture, I decided to use just some wood railings. And I'm probably not going to use this post anymore. So people had suggested that I use it because it is smaller than the scaffolding, but uh, it still works kind of like the pillar. So it was good, but then it started snapping to everything. Literally, it snaps to the bottom of every wall. It snaps to the bottom of every floor, everything. It's the worst. But it works, so you'll see that I use it a lot in this video. And so right now I'm just closing up the building now because I did want it to be closed off. not quite so open. The top of the building's actually a little bit more open, and I opted to do that rather than close it off, just so that it looked a little bit more interesting. Because I thought about adding a roof of some kind on top, but I went against that because I thought that it looked better the way that I decorate it. So I'm just closing off this bottom half of this building, just half walls on both sides, and I put a metal wall on that side because I hadn't actually used that wall in the build yet, and I didn't want to have repeating textures or anything like that. So up here, I opted to use sandbags and concrete, or well, cinder blocks. And I've used these before, making like defensive places or whatever, just because, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I think that that's a good way to defend yourself, cinder blocks and sandbags. So I usually go for those. And you may have noticed already that a lot of stuff that I typically can move, I can't move now. And it's because I downloaded the scrapping mod because I wanted to do a like rebuilt version of another structure that I've done in the past. And to do it better, I decided to use the STS, like Scrap That Settlement mod, I think it is, or something along those lines. And it really didn't let me. It added meshes to a lot of things in the game, so you can actually delete a lot of things that aren't like necessarily like things that don't necessarily need to be there, just like bushes, stuff like that you can't delete. And that's the main thing that I needed it for that other build. And so I might actually get rid of it because I know that people say like, oh yeah, activate it and then build, or activate it, delete what you want, reactivate it, or I'm sorry, disable it, and then it'll put everything back, build what you want, and then reactivate it. And I mean I think that that's fine, because it really hurts the pillar glitch, and it also makes using those plywood pieces, those actually used to let me pick them back up after I would use them, and just I can't do that anymore. Right here, all I'm doing is closing off the bottom half of the tower just to make it look a little bit more built up and, I mean, look a little bit more realistic, because like I didn't want it to look like it was just kind of floating. I wanted to add supports and stuff, and I really like doing this at the bottom of towers or bottom of buildings and stuff. If you notice, I think it makes it look a lot better because it looks like a more supported structure. It makes it look a little bit more set up, and also like just they look a little bit more defendable, especially on a tower. It leaves a lot of it closes up a lot of like blank spaces and stuff, which I think looks better than just having like floating buildings or even just supports. And so you'll notice also that I decided to use these posts underneath the quarry catwalk as a support, but I actually changed that in the final build, and I actually changed like the whole decoration of the top of the tower in the final build, and you guys will notice that it is a lot different, but I think it looks better. I didn't show it because it was just part of my decoration. I deleted a couple things, moved a couple things. Also, the cinder blocks glitched through the roof of the build. Right here, you'll see that I was just kind of looking at my build because I was like, I wonder if how that looks. So I picked it up and I moved it. And then right there, I was showing an example that this just snaps to everything. Even that staircase, it just snapped immediately. And then I started adding supports to some things so that things didn't quite look like they were floating. And like I said here, I actually don't know if I show it in the video. It might just be in the tour that I show the supports that I changed. I used the ball track supports on the quarry catwalk. And then up here, I decided instead of having plywood, or I'm sorry, instead of having just the metal roof, I was going to use that shack bridge, but it would not work. I could have easily just, I guess I could have used Place Anywhere, but I'm kind of avoiding Place Anywhere right now because it's causing a lot of glitches. So I just went with plywood. I guess I could have also rug glitched it, but it's no big deal. I think that this looks fine. And like I said, this changes in the full build. But the full tour here is coming up in a second. I really like the way that this turned out. You'll see with the decorations and everything, I kind of make it look a little bit more lively. And also, the guards actually get where I want them to be, and they just stay there. So, as you can see, I've got a guard up there, one of the Minutemen. And I'll walk up here, and you can also see up front, I've got another Minuteman guarding the inside of the tower. So, got one downstairs and one on the roof. And I think her name's Anna Hargrave. She's a level 4 merchant. She's inside. But I thought that this turned out awesome. I really like the decorations because, I mean, this is a Minutemen's, well, I guess not really a Minutemen settlement. Preston's here and there's some Minutemen, so I guess it's somewhat Minutemen. There's some things that they would use. There was the colonial looking flags and then a Minutemen flag on the front. And then I'll take you guys inside. And I really like the way the staircase turned out. I thought it was pretty interesting. A little bit scrappier than some other ones. Got some ammo over there, fusion cells because they use laser muskets, some food and stuff. And she hangs out in there apparently. Don't know why. There's chairs all over the settlement, but she decided that she wanted to sit at those. And then, like I said up here, I did change it. I did use the shack bridge right there. I deleted all the cinder blocks and it let me place it. And then I just placed a couple pieces of plywood to prevent the cinder blocks or anything else from glitching through the floor. Added some barrels as walls, actually. Or not barrels, some boxes and a fire barrel. And then cinder blocks around that fire barrel on that side. And a junk wall, or well, a little junk fence on that end. But I really, really like the way that this build turned out. Their stairwell, I thought, looked really cool wrapping around the build. And I really enjoyed doing this build. But if you guys like this build, make sure to let me know. Check out some of my other videos. Subscribe if you're not. If you are, thank you for the support. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.